while he's building his party and he's trying to tout his own rebirth, so to speak, some people are feeling bad for him, and then some people are just taking the opportunity to be backed by this multi-billionaire, which, doesn't really surprise me anymore, right? But the backbone of this whole thing, and the one thing that everyone needs to realize, and I hope everyone realizes, is that this whole movement, this whole thing is based off of like a pseudo-Christian political machine. I mean, they all say they're Christians, but none of them hold the values of one. Christianity is like a cosplay for power right now, and it's not faith-based leadership. It's not anything like that. It's faith-flavored leadership. It's these people are preaching gospel, but they're monetizing it, and they're not utilizing the word like it's supposed to be. And I'm not the most spiritual person in the world, but I know that you have to practice what you preach in religion, and no one's doing it. And so what I want to know is why people don't realize this. I mean, how do you not realize that these people that are saying that they're diehard Christians? For one, Trump didn't even put his hand on the Bible when he swore in. I don't know if you noticed that. For two, the guy is not a Christian. Okay, he's probably a pedophile. He's a lot of things, but he ain't Christian. And they drape themselves, or they sell themselves as these Christian diehards, and they quote scripture, but I mean they govern like pharaohs. I mean they're nothing like it in any way, shape, or form. It's strategic, and it's branding, and it's nothing like what they say it is. Every prayer rally is a data farm, and every sermon about spirituality is like spiritual warfare and a campaign ad. Jesus didn't need a pack, and these guys have 5. I mean, I'm just saying, you pass a collection plate at church. You don't pass a pack. You don't have these huge entities where you put millions in hush hush, dark money, the Pioneer Fund and everything else. And let's not, ignore that foundation that's behind them, that Heritage Foundation, the Turning Point Faith, and the Council for National Policy. And this isn't fringe. This is infrastructure. I mean, this is true shit. And they worship at the altar when they pull your data, and they quote all the things that they can to boost engagement. And if Jesus flipped their donor tables, they'd fine him for property damage. You know what I mean? I mean, it's crazy. And then you flip to Iran, where a political mirror is not really a foreign threat. I mean, we're seeing that there isn't just another dictator or distant dictatorship. It's a warning. This year, Israel has hit and killed dozens of thousands, I should say in the thousands, and the members of political prisoners and civilians and kids and people trying to get aid when they get their food. They've buried people in secret. They've accused others of stealing bodies to prevent protests. I mean, this isn't just war crimes. I mean, it's about narratives and controlling death and memory and dissent, and taking the opportunity to make sure everyone still likes them when they have the chance. I mean, I don't know if you listened to World War III threat assessment that was done the other day by the Diary of a CEO on YouTube, but it was Andrew Bustamante. I don't know how to say his name for sure, but he was from the CIA, and then Professor Benjamin Rad, and Annie Jacobson. Professor is a geopolitics expert, and she's a nuclear war expert, an author, and a very renowned one. And they talked about proxy war, and they talked about where the safe place was in the case of a nuclear threat. They also talked about, tribal anger, which is something that I totally want to get into, because it's something that I've been saying for a long time too, and he even said the same thing, is that how come, and when I say he, I mean Andrew, how is it that Annie said the tribal warfare, but how come our Congress is still left and right? I mean, it's tribal anger and gang mentality and gang warfare. It's a real thing. So if you split people up and you keep them in a group and you go against each other, you're gonna end up rallying behind one another, and you can't do that. I mean, if you do that, you're screwed. And so I don't know why they don't do it like they do it in the Senate, where it's left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. I mean, that would make a lot more sense. And if Musk can get this done for a third party, I hope they don't, because it's just going to be another third fucking uh, corrupt party. So that would, be neither here nor there. If anyone's going to do it, it's got to be someone that can do it, that the people rally behind him because, or her, because, you know, that they have the right mindset. And it's going to take a while, I think. It could even take, this possible civil war we're going to have. I don't know. But anyway, in this show, they talk about how they talked about Iran, they talked about Gaza, they talked about the 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 CIA's role in everything. They talk about nuclear warfare. They talked about all kinds of things, but I wrote down a few little things that I wanted to note, because there's a lot of them. But there were a few that were extremely important to me, and that I think that people need to pay a little bit more attention to. For one, if one has to be okay, so in their conversation, Andrew, who's the CIA agent, says that once you are the first place, or once you are the dominant power in the world, you have to contain that. You have to maintain it. You don't have a choice. And he argued that because once you're the dominant, maybe once one has to be the dominant in different areas, but one is dominant to it's because it's in our DNA. And my point to that was, if trade is if trade can be done fairly and without masculinity and then fairly, then we can engage fairly. I think that that's kind of a cop out. I mean, I really do, because if you don't know how to handle a situation without freaking out and hitting the button, then what the fuck? And if we all, it's not that the country can't be dominant or has to be dominant. It's that the richest, most powerful, most greedy people have to be dominant, and they do it because they've been sucked into that world. You know what I mean? And there are people out there that are able to keep their their greed aside, and stay humble and stay focused on the bigger picture. And that is what we need. Is we need more leadership like that. And that's the problem, is we don't have any. But and I'm not saying that it's left or right. I'm saying that it's just common fucking sense. You know what I mean? Yeah, we needed to fix the borders. Yeah, there's people that hurt people. But no, we shouldn't take kids away from their parents and fucking strip them and then they never see them again. And no, we shouldn't take people that served in the military and had Purple Heart or Medal of Honor or whatever it was, and then take them out and put them in a camp. The guy was a Purple Heart or Medal of Honor. Are you kidding me? The motherfucker, Trump didn't even go in the goddamn war, and he's going to take a Purple Heart dude out? I mean, now look, I'm not left and I'm not right, but I'm saying that that's stupid. So I think that there is a way to do this to where, we still keep our money in the infrastructure, but we also, we don't rob people that are going to die. And, there is a fucking way to do it. There's a way to, I want to keep my guns. I like guns. I love my guns. You're not taking my guns. No one's really said that they're going to take your fucking guns. No one has said, I'm going to take your guns like that. No one. It's all blown out of proportion. So, I mean, there's things that can happen. But anyway, another thing that they talked about, how you doing, redneck? Like the name. Another thing that they talked about was cognitive dissidence, and in their context, they were talking about how as Trump gets his information from the intelligence agency, like how I forgot her name now, but when she reported that Iran actually couldn't develop the nuke yet and that they weren't capable, well, when she said that 3 weeks prior to then saying that they did, Andrew, who's a CIA agent, was under the impression that maybe that information didn't get to him, or that she had not that she had changed her mind at some point and said, I don't think so. But I don't know if I believe that either, because if you're going to tell the Senate and you're going to tell the Congress that you don't think that they have that weapon, and then 3 weeks later they bomb the people saying that they do, I'm pretty sure, I'm just saying, that you just got caught basically with your pants down because the person above you has a little bit more power and you are his bitch. Because that's pretty obvious to me. I'm just saying that's just my point of view, and that's not a very, unbiased one, but I don't care. I don't know, but anyway, how you doing, Rick? Right? Exactly. I appreciate that, man. Let's see. Hold on one second. Oh yeah. Here's the other one too. Is he said and I like that Andrew Cat. He's cool, but he says once you are, you don't have a choice. If you're number one in the world, you have to say number one. The Olympics have a first place, and to that, Benjamin, who was the professor, he said, yeah, but team sports. What about team sports? You got 9 people on a baseball team are on the field and they win the championship. You got 21 on the whole team. Then they said that Trump made election allegations, or they're bringing up that Trump made election allegations, and it kind of caught my interest too, because they were just talking about on the news the other day that that machines had some kind of a data problem where they had leaked the admin and the code out into the world for everyone to see, and it could have been tampered with, and they're finding all this crap out. And I'm sure it's not just this year, it's just being brought up by the left this year and the right last year or the last time, and yada yada. But it kind of made me wonder, is let's just say January 6th, that Trump made such a big deal, and then they said all the shit about the elections so that Joe and Kamala, when he came back and won it, wouldn't bitch and they wouldn't say anything, and they would just hand the keys over to be like, this is how you do it correctly, and this is how you do it like an adult. And then fucking, what if they were smart enough to do that and they did fuck with the elections? I'm just saying, like, what if? And they did that knowing that they wouldn't contest it because they didn't want to make themselves look like a fool. And I was like, it's doing it again. What if they did that just so that they could say, hey, look, this is how you hand the keys over like an adult? And the whole thing was planned that way. What if it wasn't necessarily that they fucked with the elections, but what if it was that they made it so that when and if that did happen, they would have no arguments. They would have no rebuttal. God damn it. Trump is definitely in those files. We all know this. I mean, it's fucking everyone in the world knows it, and I don't know why we even need the proof to know it. That's the thing that bugs me, is that there's no doubt in anyone's mind that this guy's in those files. There's no doubt. I mean, he's already been in the ones that have been released for the court case. We already know he's been there 100 times. We know he's been on flight records. We know all this stuff. But even more than that, and in my other episode, I showed it, and I can throw the link on here if you want. But I mapped out all of this on littlesis.org, which is a really dope website that lets you map out political connections, donations, and everything else. And and on it, I showed how Mossad's connected to Maxwell, and how Maxwell and the Russian government are even connected via some other parties, and then how Trump's connected to all of them via not just his money for the Atlantis that he was loaned, but also because his lawyer was the same lawyer that a lot of the Russian guys used, Cohen. And there's just, I mean, it goes deeper than that. But then you got Palantir, and you got Peter Thiel, and you have the CIA and the FBI and all their data, and then Meta. And it's like, I mean, we know he's in the files. We know they want our data. We know that they're going to actually surveil us more than they were before. Why in the world do people not think that shit's going to happen? I mean, whoever, and I look, I am an idiot and I voted for Trump, but I did it because I thought Kennedy was going to fix our food problem because I'm sick of seeing people eat crap. But, and that was really the only reason. But what I don't understand is that people actually thought that he cared about the middle class. They thought that he cared about the lower class. They thought that this guy that's never cared about anyone but himself gave a shit. And I mean, the guy used to hire illegal immigrants and then not pay them and then deport them because he couldn't pay them. I mean, that's real shit. He built a golf course and took this lady's water away and made her 93 years old carry water in a wheelbarrow to her door every day and shower in her sink. And 93 years old, when they told her about it, they said, "Why would you want to fix the house? Look at the house. Look at it." And it's family. It's a family property. It's a ranch, and things were rusty, and they were making fun of it. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. And so that is so not the way that the world should work, and that is definitely not how you treat an old lady, man. Which info with Trump about what? If you specify, I can tell you. In fact, I can give you the link to it right now. I'll show you it. Hold on 1 second. One second, buddy. So if you go to littlesis.org, it's called Trump and His Minions, but I'll just send you the link right here. Copy link. Got you right here, paste. All right, so there's a link to it right there, man. And yeah, there's flights in Epstein. In fact, you can find it on there. I think it might be on that map, if not on the other maps I made, which I think you can get to from there. It shows all the flight logs and stuff that he was on when he was on their the Lolita Express or whatever it was called. That was the name of the plane that they owned. He went on that plane multiple times, and there's flight logs and records of it all. Going to the going to their island, which still doesn't mean he's guilty, but I mean, it doesn't technically. But hey, if he's not guilty of going to that island and he's not a pedophile, then how in the world can you say all these people that he has no proof of doing anything wrong are criminals? Because I'm just saying, like, one or the other, you know what I mean? It's kind of shit, or get off the pot. That's all I'm saying. He's got to live by the word. If you practice what you preach, then you can preach whatever you want. It's like Charlie Sheen. He was dope because he said winning, and he didn't give a shit what anyone thought. Now, granted, when we found out he was giving people AIDS, not telling them, that was fucked up. But when he was just doing what he was doing, I mean, really, the guy had more balls than most people. Like I'm all for someone doing whatever they want to do if they actually own it. But this guy doesn't own nothing, man. He probably doesn't even claim his own mother. So I'm just saying. And I mean, his own wife doesn't even seem to like him. And that was all business too. She's Russian. And then you got and it was in North Carolina that the poll voting was off. It showed errors, that the Democratic lost votes, and that they could have, they could actually have won the thing. But they say that every year, so I don't really care what they say about all that. But it's all hearsay by this point. And who cares? He's already in office. Let's see, what was the other one? All right, so there, I'm done on those key points. I'll get back to my thing. But did you find it? Well, I hope you did. All right, so let's get back to this. Cool, got it. Awesome, that's good, man. Let's see. So, yeah, I'm not even going to get into Musk anymore. I mean, I'm over that guy. Okay, so, but now we have the PAC. it gets all this money that we don't get to see. I don't remember, because honestly, I just started following politics recently, and I tried to avoid them my whole life. And I don't remember when they made that whole rule that you could. Do you consider Harris a choice? No, I didn't. And that's the thing, man. Is I vote like a pinball, dude. I'll go left, I'll go right, I'll go left, I'll go right, I'll go whatever looks best. You know what I mean? But and that's on not just presidents, but on law and legislature and everything in between. Like anything we can vote on, I'm going to do it by what I think is best and what's common sense. You know what I mean? No, you're not taking my guns because I want to defend myself. And no, but like Harris, she just didn't have any fight, man. Like even when she gave that speech that everyone was so gung ho about after Trump's 100 days or on his 100 days, that speech was cool. I mean, she said some good things, but there was no fire, man. There was no. I felt nothing. It was like watching Ben Stein, going wah 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 wah, and and that's never going to work. Like if anything, like you have that chick, that redheaded chick. I shouldn't call her chick. She's an elected, member of the Senate or whatever it is, but that she gave that speech about how if no one stands up, then no one will do it, and her parents didn't raise her to be a Christian like that. And I don't remember exactly what she said, but she had fire, man. She was lit. And then you got Jasmine Crockett, who I love, and I mean, she's definitely not. I don't think she's got the mouth to be president, but as of right now, I would vote for her, over what we got. But and then even Tillis. I mean, when he backed out, I was like, what if he runs? That would be crazy. I mean, because he comes from a trailer park, man. That guy is old school, and he is Crockett from Dallas. But that guy from Tillis, the guy that didn't vote and then quit when Trump tried to give him shit, man. When I saw his interview, he's not a bad choice. I mean, he's got everything we need. He's a little right, he's a little left. I mean, he's not left, but he's common sense. I mean, the guy came from nothing and worked his ass off. So anyone that does that, I mean, is way better than someone that's getting handed their hotel empire. To me, at least, I'd rather have a manager that worked his way from the labor to the top. I mean, no one wants to work for the guy in the caddies or khakis. But that's just my point of view. Now, Trump is a dude that's all about rallies, and he's all about his character, and he's all about his persona and his facade, and it's definitely a facade. And Musk has got his algorithms and his going, but that isn't a team effort, because I don't know if you knew this, and I'm sure he did, but Musk's, almost everything Musk has built has said to have been in Tesla's records and like the real Tesla's paperwork. And Trump's uncle is the guy that went and got that paperwork from his hotel room when he died. So Trump's uncle, John G. Trump, got all of Tesla's records when he died as a CIA. He was a CIA and agent, or a CIA scientist, technically, that graduated from MIT, and he did all of our defense stuff at the time. And they went and sent him to get all the records. And not only did he get them, but then they disappeared some of them. Mind you, the things that they disappeared supposedly are the same things that that Musk builds. And I just think that is way too freaking coincidental for me. I mean, I just think that that's bizarre. And so you got this digital popular, not to mention the human, what do they call it? That new human robotic crap that Thiel's pushing, which is just bizarre as hell. And but then you got this digital world getting pushed, and our surveillance is going to be upped, and our privacy is going down. And I got a letter at my college the other day that said that they're going to protect us if we said anything bad about Trump in any of our or in our papers. And if you're and then if you're an illegal, that, or if you're an immigrant, that they'll try to protect you too. And that was kind of terrifying, because I definitely have. And so but not bad, just true. You know what I mean? Just honest. It's honest paper. It's not a shit talking paper. And So anyway, that's whatever that's worth. But what's weird to me is that they take away Noah before we have all these storms. Okay, which is bad enough. But they also take away Noah maybe because of HARP. I don't know. And then we have, our military getting up the budget as well as ICE, but we're taking away from the people that need the things that they need. And I'll be honest with you, man, is I was in school and I was a person that was getting some help, and so I was okay with losing a little bit of that because I understood that like we all have to give a little something, and that's fine with me. But I don't know about medical though. Like I seriously just don't understand that one a little bit, but I do understand we all got to give a little. We can't just expect the rich to give. Like we can't, that is never going to work, and no one would ever agree to that. Like, oh fuck you, how about me? It's like no, that's never going to happen. You have to give a little and take a little. But the whole like, oh well, screw our grandchildren and fossil fuels are the way to go. And I can already tell you what's going to happen next is they're going to go after those rare earths that are in the ocean, and that area no one's supposed to touch them. And I'm pretty positive that that's the lubrication for the plate tectonics that go underneath the California so that we don't have a huge, gigantic earthquake. And what's going to happen is they're going to take them, and in 10, 20 years, that shit's going to hit the fan, dude. And that's what I really think is going to happen. But then you have what scares me is this tech, dude. Is the tech, and I don't know why I keep saying dude, but the decentralized communication and the off-grid organizing and peer-to-peer education and the faith communities that actually live with their values and not sell them. The resistance is smaller now. It's messier and it's real and it matters. But when we're talking about the real believers that have to go underground, they're going to start hiding. Like the people that actually fight eventually, if this works, if it goes the way that it kind of looks like it's going, right, where like it's going to be a very money hungry, very popularity, very you have to be someone to get anything, totalitarian type. I don't even know how to explain it. Just a greedy, shitty place to live. Well, then that's either going to make everyone that's underneath them revolt, or it's going to make them hide. And then we're going to become like the cat and mouse game. And I don't want to do that. Like I have no want to be that country. And I never thought this country would be that country. Like I actually tried to sign up for the Air Force literally 2 weeks ago, and they told me no because I had a repossession of my past, which is retarded. But because I was like, I'm so ready to fight to make sure this doesn't happen. And it's terrifying that so much work, even if it was getting quote unquote woke, which is a good thing in my opinion to an extent, but the word woke is way too broadly used. It should just mean like open-minded and not racist. But I get why people are like, okay, I don't understand the them, they thing, but that's their problem. To me, it's like, you do what you do, I'll do what I do, fuck it, but I've never seen someone that's not gay talk about gay people so fucking much in my life. Okay. And I'm from California. I know lots of gay people. Okay. Very well. But never, not even those people, talk about gay people as much as Trump does, or as much as these other people do. And it just kind of makes me wonder. It's like, damn, dude, I don't spend that much time thinking about gay people or trans people or whatever people, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even think about people as a whole that much in a day. So like, I do if I see someone in need, I do if I see something happen, but I'm not sitting there thinking about other people all day long. And it seems to be that's kind of what they're doing. And it's kind of bizarre to me that's not like noticed, that that people don't realize that like they spend a lot of time and energy on this shit, and it's really unnecessary. So, but that's just me. So they're building a new like theology, though. You know what I mean? It's like it's one part God or Jesus or a higher entity or the Christian belief, and it's one part algorithm, and then you got like a billionaire messiah, and they're hoping not that they can confuse you with charisma and credibility and popularity, and it's not a prophecy. You know what I mean? It's not. Yeah, true. It's but see, that's the thing. It is the human race, and we're all human. I mean, it's like people that used to say that Neanderthals were closer to the so in eugenics, they would literally put up exposés or exhibits of a black person's skull, and they would show it next to a Neanderthal skull, and they would say it's closer aligned and it's more likely that this is related. And then they'd have fetuses of white and black babies in jars, and they'd have like pictures of the white soldier, and it was like just this gross movement of like, we're better, they're worse type shit. And and they sterilize. It was, anyway, that's another podcast of mine. But and in that sense, it was like they tried to make a point. But then we found out later down the road from anthropologists that white people are actually closer related to Neanderthals than black people are by DNA. And so it's so funny that like that they this whole like, these guys are rapists and murderers. I don't care what fucking where you live, man. There is not 80% rapists and murderers ever. And if there was, that would be like the new exile country. It would be the new Australia. So it's always 3 to 5% or something of that nature. It's not, and maybe 8. You know what I mean? And so you could say 8% of the people coming across might be rapists and murderers, but that means that 8% of their entire population came. That would work out to that, the equivalent to that, or maybe 20 to 40% of their population came, and 8% of that, which would be minute in that sense, and so it's just like, it's common math, and it just bugs me, man. And I come from an area, I'm in Napa, where there's farm workers everywhere and vineyard workers everywhere, and I grew up with this with that culture and these people, and I can't tell you 3 people that are horrible people and in my whole city that I've known, like I don't even know anyone that really did anything horrible. And a lot of those people were some of my best friends. And so it's like, or good friends. And so you can't sit there and tell me that it's a problem as a whole. And not to mention, I mean, look, I get it. You come here illegally. You did something illegal. I get it. I totally get it. But I also understand that it would have taken you 6 years to do it the other way. So why not cross the border, get arrested, and then go to court, and then get told that you can stay because you deserve it? I mean, that makes way more sense. And so the wall, I kind of agreed with. I'm not going to lie. I agreed with the wall. But I don't agree with ripping people from their families and taking kids from their families and then never reconnecting them, and then I've gone through custody, dude, and losing your kids is the worst thing on the face of the planet. And so if you do it forcefully in a fucking scary ass manner like that, where you told your parents aren't going to come back ever again because they fucking sped one time, I mean, that is just God fucking awful and evil and wrong, and it shouldn't be allowed in this planet. And so, I just don't understand that shit. It's stupid. But that's just me. And I mean, that's really, I kind of wanted to just vent a little bit. So, I mean, that was kind of the basis of what I wanted to say. Other than that, I think that people need to be a little bit more cognitive and aware, and not have that cognitive dissidence to disregard the fact that what's happening right now is not only totally aligned with every prior authoritarian like leader from Xi to Kim Jong Un's dad or uncle or whatever, and then to Putin. I mean, it's all the same thing. It's hire people that aren't qualified, that will say yes to everything. It's fire as many people as you can. It's take people to court that shouldn't even be taken to court because it's unlawful. And then it's disinformation. I mean, we used to literally fly over countries and fly and push flyers out of airplanes by hand in certain areas, hoping people would read them. And if it rained, we were fucked. So I mean, this disinformation is not a new thing. It's a totally common and obviously propaganda is widely used. And so if what like in fact, what astonishes me, man, is I have friends that are Trump fanatics, and mind you, and I don't mean it to be this disrespectfully, but a lot of those friends that are Trump fanatics are not the most educated people in the world either, nor like in current events at all. In fact, yeah, and so it's just amazing to me how different their view and their like outlook on things. When I'm kind of a nerd and I'll research the shit out of stuff just because I want to, and so I get all this information and then I hear what they say and I go, whoa, what? Like how is that even? Where in the fuck? How? Like really? Like where did that? How do you even think that shit? I don't. It just doesn't. It blows my mind. And so now I mean, I don't know who you voted for, and you don't have to tell me. But I mean, redneck rambler. But what are if you liked Trump, or if you do like Trump, or if there's anything that Trump does that you like? I mean, is there, and what is it? I'm just curious. I do know that I was a fan of the wall. I'm not gonna lie. I did think that they dig under it anyway for drugs, personally. But I did think it would help. But I also thought that this country is for immigrants. I mean, we're all immigrants technically, and we took it from the Native Americans and Mexicans that owned it before us anyway. So, I think that that's kind of fucked anyway. That's why it's the Gulf of Mexico. It's not because, yeah, anyway. But, like my town was actually, had a different name, and it was called, Alta, and it was actually owned by Mexico. So, before we had it, and when they overtook it with such brutality that the towns around it got named by the guys that would rape and behead all the Native Americans, like Kelseyville. There was the Kelsey brothers, and so on and so forth. And Vallejo was actually in the other town next to me. It was named after one of the Mexican leaders that ended up helping America. But it's crazy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I get that too. But what about the system, if you don't mind me asking? Like, is it what part of it? Because is it the financial part of the system? Is it just the fact that it was getting so tyrant and like so just repetitive and redundant and um, I mean, I remember watching politics when I was a kid, and it was like, what are we doing watching this right now? I don't want to watch this shit. And like it was like that. Is that why? Or was it because you felt like there was a lot of fraud and a lot of waste and abuse, like they were saying? Um, which I do think that there was, but I think a lot of it was in the hands of the guy that was getting rid of it. But I also don't think that Musk was a. I don't think he's a bad guy. I really don't. I think he was a puppet. I think he was Trump's puppet, man. I think that they played that guy because he was a Democrat before. I think that they played him like a fiddle, man, and he came in and he just wanted to be cool because he's always been a nerd, and so you know, he just got that opportunity, and they gave him some drugs, and he was like, "Yeah, man," and then he did everything that he did, and they just took full advantage of that guy. Yeah, okay, I get that, but and I totally get that, 100%. Uh, I do have one question though, but why Trump? Out of all the people in the world, the guy that couldn't run a business because everything he touches turns to shit, and the guy that already had all this baggage on his shoulders and didn't know how to talk to people and was very unprofessional and unpolitical, which the unpolitical part I'm okay with, but I'm just curious as to why that guy, because I know it's not your choice, right? Like it's not like the people like, I don't know if you're a very important person, but I know I'm not, and so I know that we don't really get a choice as to who that person is, but per se, but God, I could have thought of anyone else. It felt like, I never liked that guy. Not a lot, not a lot, because he was not a long time politician, or because you're not a long time politician. But yeah, I don't know. This whole thing though, it has made me rethink. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, totally. And that, yeah, I get that. But he was around political figures forever in New York. I mean, he was a guy of power and a guy of money, and one time the richest man in the world with the grossest TV show. So I mean, my teacher was actually in his beauty pageant, and she told me that he gave her a weird vibe, but he wasn't like a bad guy to them or anything, but just gave her a weird vibe. But she was in the Miss America contest or whatever, and she was telling us about it, and it was pretty interesting. I never really I wasn't into politics. I hated politics. I was taught not to do politics or religion. And I am a spiritual dude, but I'm not a religious guy. And especially right now, I'm not a religious guy because I think that you don't know who's a real Christian and who isn't at the moment, personally, I don't think. I mean, it seems like it's kind of the fad of the moment, what can I get out of saying I'm a Christian and not really being it. I mean, he didn't put his hand on the Bible when he swore in. That blew my mind. I mean, when I saw that, I went, whoa, that's scary. I mean, why would you not put your hand on the Bible? That is so fucking weird, man. Excuse me. Uh, but I'll tell you right now, man, politics has caught my interest because it has caught it has piqued my curiosity. And I'm curious if it's even possible for someone, not necessarily me, but someone of my nature, like that's been around the block and is just a informed, normal individual with a good mindset and set of morals. If that's even possible for someone like that, is it possible for someone like that to not have billions and millions or backing of millions to even get in anymore with this new rule about buying your way in? I mean, it sucks. I don't know when that was. Maybe you do. I hope you do, because I'd love to know when they decided to do that. And I know it was relatively recent. I want to say in the 90s, but I could be wrong. But why in the world would they think that that's a good idea? And now the fact that they're saying that is even, they're trying to make this rule. I think it passed. Very terrifying. Oh yeah, no, for sure. And trust me, I'm not gonna. I can't anyway. I mean, I probably could, but I have a past, and even though I have no problem admitting it, yeah, I know. I saw it cut out, and it's the app, I think, or the platform, but uh, I have a little bit of a criminal record, and I also have been around the block. And honestly, if we think Jasmine Crockett's bad, I'd probably be 20 times worse, because if people were acting the way that they were acting, I would call them out, and I would call them out in a much less, you know, proper manner. I would probably lose my mind. Anyway, but I mean, that's all I was really going to say today, and I hope that it was worth listening to, and I appreciate you listening in and giving feedback. I really do. If you have any suggestions, would love to hear them. I live in the next district over from where she represents. Really, my sister's in Dallas, or yeah, Dallas area, Fort Worth area. Yeah, she just moved there actually a couple of years ago, and she likes it. Are you by the floods by any chance? Because if you are, I'm so sorry, man. That is a horrible show, man. Um, that was the other thing, though, is like actually getting down that road is this whole Noah thing. Like, why would you take away? I couldn't think of any other reason that he would take away the Noah thing until when he said FEMA, and I went, "Oh my God, I get it." Because if he takes away the ability for them to foresee these disasters, and he can try to point that blame then on the states because FEMA is no longer providing that satellite. They're saying, well, the states need to have their own satellites or whatever kind of systems that they think that they need to have. I'm assuming is what he was going to do. Then he has a leg to stand on. But I think it backfired because today he went out there. I don't know what he said yet. I haven't looked, but I'm sure it's not what he was saying. I can almost guarantee you that. I mean, if it is, then he's an idiot because uh, the budget is still good them until October. The budget for Noah. Oh wow, okay. I didn't know that. See, learn something new every day. That's not something I've actually looked up, so I appreciate that. So what else is still current until October? When does all that's the fiscal year is October, huh? Okay, that makes sense. That's worth noting for sure. Um, you learn as you go, right? You know, and that's another. Like, when did saying I'm wrong or like? Do you remember? I don't know how old you are, but when I was raised, it was if you are a man, you admit when you're wrong and you take it and you own it and you look it right square in the eye. You know what I mean? You say I was wrong, I apologize, or I was wrong and how do I fix it? Or you're right and whatever. And then when you're right, you don't say I'm right. You expect them to do the same thing. And right, and that's a guy, girl, doesn't matter. And so when did when damn it, it cut out. Come on, come back on. When did that chivalry or that humbleness and that being the bigger man or woman? Yeah, I mean, I know it's hard to do, but is it though? I mean, is it really? Is I appreciate that. I really do. But yeah, on that note, I think that I'm going to end it. But I appreciate you being on here and responding and engaging in it. I really do, and I hope you have a good night and shoot straight.